You know, every now and then you come across a phrase that just stops you. It's so simple, but you can feel the depth behind it. Well, today we're diving into one of those, a really beautiful and kind of mysterious proverb from Burma. It says, "Don't burn the river in your heart." It sounds poetic for sure, but what on earth does it actually mean? Let's figure it out.
So right off the bat, we're hit with this powerful image, right? A river that's flowing inside of us. And before we can even get to the warning, the don't burn it part, we have to ask the most obvious question. What is this river?
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the proverb itself. Then, we're going to figure out what this inner river really represents. After that, we'll identify the fire that threatens it. And then, the important part, we'll get into a super practical way to build patience to protect it. And finally, we'll see how to keep that river flowing, well, forever.
So, let's start unpacking this piece of timeless wisdom. Because this isn't just some catchy phrase, It's really a roadmap for how to handle our own inner world and how we connect with everyone around us.
And that brings us right to the heart of the whole thing. What is this wellspring, this current that we're all supposed to have inside of us? So, what is this river? Well, it's a concept called metta. And it's not just a passing feeling, like being in a good mood. It's a deep, genuine goodwill, a sincere loving kindness that you actively wish for other people, for everyone. And this just nails the core idea. I mean, think about it for a second. Think about how badly you want to be happy, how much you want to feel safe and be at peace. Metta is simply taking that powerful feeling and turning it outward, wishing that exact same happiness for your friends, your family, for strangers, for everybody. It's a pretty radical idea when you think about it. Okay, so if metta is this beautiful river, the proverb gives us a serious warning. It talks about a fire, a destructive force that can literally make that river of goodwill just evaporate. So what is this fire we have to watch out for?
Turns out, the fire is impatience. And what's so wild is how basic this is. The idea here is that at the root of almost every argument, every conflict, every fight is just a lack of patience. That's the moment we start generating that inner heat that just boils our own river of kindness away. And look at this contrast. It really lays it all out. When your mind is impatient, it's just impossible to grow metta. It becomes fertile ground for anger, and that anger eventually spills out and hurts other people. But a patient mind, it's the total opposite. It's built on a foundation of metta. It's a mind that finds it easier to forgive, to let things go, and to keep extending that loving kindness, even when things get tough.
You know, there's this incredible quote from an ancient text called the Hitopadesha that puts it perfectly. When your inner river of metta is as vast and deep as the ocean, and it's protected by patience, what can one little torch, an insult or some criticism, really do? Nothing. It's totally powerless. Your mind can stay cool and calm, completely unfazed.
Okay, so we've identified the problem. Impatience is the fire. But just knowing that isn't enough. How do we actually fight it? Well, let's get into a really practical method for building up that patience and protecting our inner river.
The practice is all about developing something called Khanti Barami, which basically translates to the perfection of patience. And here's what's so fascinating. This isn't just about self-control. It's seen as a truly profound act, something that's often considered even harder and more valuable than giving away all your money or possessions. So how do we actually do this? Well, here's a simple two-part mental exercise you can use. Okay, scenario 1. Someone criticizes you and, deep down, they've got a point. You're wrong. The practice is to just accept it. Internally, just think, they're right. That's it. It takes all the air out of your ego and puts out that little spark of anger. Okay, but what about scenario 2? When you're criticized and you are 100% in the right. The mental move is different. Instead of anger, you go for compassion. You think to yourself, wow, it's a shame they are acting out of ignorance like that. See what that does? It completely changes the game. It's not a personal attack anymore. It's an opportunity to protect your own peace.
And all this practice leads us to the final goal, making this whole philosophy work in our day-to-day, so that river of kindness becomes a constant, steady current in our life. And that brings us to the single most important takeaway. If you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. Patience, or khanti, isn't just passively waiting around. It's an active shield. It's the bodyguard you hire to protect the great river of metta, making sure the fires of impatience can never, ever burn it dry.
And really, that's the whole point, isn't it?
When we actively work on our patience, we're not just trying to avoid a few arguments. We are making sure that this beautiful, powerful river of loving kindness flows without stopping and becomes the current that actually guides our thoughts, our words, and our actions.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. This isn't just some ancient idea to think about, it's something to do right now. As you go on with your day-to-day, just ask yourself, what am I going to do to protect my patience, to keep that river in my heart flowing?